So Darwin Nunez.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I mean, how do I tell my future kids that Darwin Nunez missed this, but scored this? How do I tell my future grandchildren that Darwin Nunez created a chance from this, but still ended up missing this? I mean, that's just absolutely mental. Opportunities like this, he misses, but then opportunities like this, he scores. The life of Darwin Nunez is absolutely mental, and you can completely understand the Captain Chaos sort of nickname that goes on Darwin Nunez's shoulder sometimes, because he's an absolutely mental footballer at the best of times. And don't get me wrong, as a Liverpool fan, I have to say straight out, I am a big fan of Darwin Nunez. I really like him. I think he's a good footballer for Liverpool. Is he an elite level, top level footballer for Liverpool right now? I would say no. But I am a big fan of Darwin Nunez. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those super fans who, create TikToks about Darwin Nunez and start singing songs about him and everything else on TikTok and YouTube, because, it's a little bit weird, that. But at the same time, I am a fan of him. I'm probably not like some fans who think he's going to go on and be one of the best players to play for Liverpool in the next couple of years, or one of Liverpool's best attackers, or even one of the best players to play in the Premier League. I have seen some crazy shouts about Darwin Nunez in the past while, and to a degree I can kind of understand it. But at the same time, I just think, we should all maybe just calm down a little bit on the Darwin Nunez hype. I love him. I think he's a great footballer, and I think he does a lot of great things for Liverpool. But there is that glaringly obvious thing that is going wrong in Nunez's game, and it points back to what we discussed right at the start of this video, and that's the fact that he misses some absolutely wild misses. And don't get me wrong, you can excuse it if it happens every now and again. I mean, every player has missed sitters. Salah has missed sitters, Haaland has missed sitters, Aguero has missed big chances. I mean, all the best strikers in the Premier League through history have missed open goals, big chances. I mean, Suarez once missed a complete open goal, a bit like the Nunez one from, a couple of weeks ago. It happens. It happens to the best players in the league. But unfortunately for Nunez, it's just happening a bit too often. And I think the reason why a lot of Liverpool fans love Darwin Nunez and are such a big fan of Darwin Nunez, including me, is because I think as football fans, when it comes to footballers, what we want to see is players try. We want to see players run. We want to see players really give their absolute all out there on the football pitch, because I think as fans, we all dream of what it would be like to be out there on the pitch, and we all think that players should give 110% every single game that they play. But as we know in football, that is not often the case. I mean, more often than not, we see players not try, and I suppose we live in this world right now where football is very systematic. It's all based on systems. It's all based on, it's counter-pressing, possession-based football, counter-attack football, low-block football. There's so much variations of different styles that I think sometimes the pure brilliance out of players is almost coached out of the game by systems. And Darwin Nunez is the exception to the rule, because since he came to Liverpool, I'm not too sure I've seen as wild a footballer with the ball since Luis Suarez. Now, don't get this twisted before we all go absolutely crazy. Darwin Nunez is not Luis Suarez by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not comparing them in any way. I'm just simply stating the fact that when Suarez would get the ball, he would just create things from absolutely nothing. He would do wild things with the football that genuinely I didn't even think were possible. And more often than not, Suarez would end up scoring a quite ridiculous goal straight after that. He would also tend to bite players, which wasn't great. He was so good that it was like, do you know what? Fair enough. That's what you're into. You do you, pal. Face your suspension, come back and do whatever. But Nunez, when he gets the ball with his feet, he can create things. He makes things happen. He's great at beating players, and he's such an unorthodox, unusual footballer, because for someone of his build, 6 foot, big shoulders, strong, physically, big player. I think most Liverpool fans, when we signed Darwin Nunez, I think we all thought, what kind of way is he going to fit into Liverpool? Because I think most people thought he was going to be a bit like a Haaland in terms of you just cross the ball into him, he heads it in, clinical finisher. But he's actually not that at all. He's a fast runner. He's aggressive. I mean, his hold-up play has improved hugely, to be fair, this season. And he just creates things from absolutely nothing. And his positional sense in the game is absolutely top drawer. It's one of the biggest positives I could give to Darwin Nunez, is that the fact that he's able to get like 7 or 8 big chances in a game, 7 or 8 chances, 4 or 5 big chances in a game, shows positionally how good he is. And don't get me wrong, I mean, you could say look, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Szoboszlai, Andy Robertson when he's playing, Salah, all these players create these big opportunities for Nunez, but like Gakpo probably doesn't get the same level of chances that Nunez gets. Jota doesn't get the same level of chances that Nunez gets. Even Salah at times doesn't get the same level of chances that Nunez gets. But Nunez, like, he's not stuck to one position. He sort of just plays everywhere, all over the front three. And I think that's what makes him so chaotic, so unusual, because you just never know what he's going to do next when he gets to football. And that's what makes him so brilliant. But it's also one of his biggest criticisms, no doubt. And whilst we do have a lot of people on Twitter and on social media who are saying that Nunez is going to go on and be one of the top footballers in the Premier League, like, I think there are some misconceptions about Darwin Nunez, and there are some facts that I think maybe need to be set straight. I think this whole idea that, he's a young footballer, he's going to come good, give him time. Like, he's 24. Don't get me wrong, he's young, but it's not like we're talking about a 20-year-old, 21-year-old right here. We're talking about a 24-year-old. Like, his prime should really start kicking into gear next season, if not the season after that. And, I think whilst, as I've said before, I'm a big fan of Nunez, I'm a fan of all the crazy things he does with the football, even if he does somehow miss 6-yard sitters. I think the bottom line is to become an elite level footballer, an elite level Liverpool footballer. And I look at all the top clubs around England, around the world, your Bayern Munich's, your Real Madrid's, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City. Like, in order to achieve silverware, in order to win trophies, you need footballers who have the ability, have the skill, but also have the mentality. And that is, for me, a worry with Darwin Nunez, is that when you see him miss these sitters and you see him miss these chances, like, he's not a bad finisher, I don't think. I don't think he, has to necessarily work on finishing, because I think we've all seen he can hit a football. Like, we can clearly see that, every now and again he absolutely blasts the ball into the back of the net, and actually finishing-wise, he's quite good. But I think it's just the mental aspect of it that's letting him down. And I feel like the pressure in many ways gets to him playing with Liverpool. And I've seen this happen multiple times down the years, like with Liverpool. I'm sure other fans of their team have seen this as well. Like, a player playing for, a lower level club or, lower down division does so well, and then he comes to Liverpool or one of the big clubs, and it isn't the same. And I feel like with Nunez, that's the worry, is that yes, we can give him time. Yes, there's that element of he might come good for Liverpool, but you can't keep missing these sitters. You can't keep missing these chances, because, for top teams, those kind of misses cost teams trophies. And look, personally, I don't think Liverpool will win the league. Even if we had to beat Luton in that game, I still don't think we would win the league. I think there is defensive issues there. There is defensive problems. Part of me actually wouldn't be surprised if, even if Nunez scored that chance, the game still finished 1-1. Because I think if, I don't think Diaz comes on if Liverpool are winning the game, if that makes sense. And I think Liverpool's defence has a lot of problems at the minute. But yeah, like, I do think, like, when it comes to the big moments, cup finals, semi-finals, which, look, I think Liverpool might be involved in this year, in fairness, in cup competitions, Europa League, you need elite level footballers to step up in big moments. And I am just a little bit worried about Nunez in regards to that. When he's getting into these positions, when he's getting these chances, he's not scoring them enough. And I know you'll point to the Newcastle game when he came on. I know you might point to when he scored against Real Madrid, 2 goals against Man United. But, like, those are becoming more of an exception rather than the norm. And I think for Nunez, you can see the raw ability that he has, but it's just that mental aspect of the game that I'm a little bit worried about in terms of big chances that he keeps missing, because the more of these chances that he misses, the more, it will play on his brain when more big chances come up. And, I think maybe when you play for the lower level clubs, you can get away with this a little bit. But in terms of the absolute elite level, which is, for me, what Liverpool should be aspiring for, considering what we achieved only a couple of years ago, I think Nunez needs to hopefully, the mental aspect can be improved. And look, Jurgen Klopp, to be fair, I mean, he turned Divock Origi into prime Benzema at one stage. I mean, Divock Origi was, one of the sole factors for Liverpool, one of the key factors for Liverpool winning the Champions League in 2019. And since leaving Liverpool, the bloke literally has done nothing. I don't mean to sound harsh, but he's genuinely done nothing. I think if anybody can get Nunez to be a top level footballer, it's Jurgen Klopp. But he has been here, 16 months now, 17 months, and we're still seeing those missed chances. And the more they happen, the more it sort of becomes worrying, in the sense that, is he going to be what Liverpool essentially need him to be, which is a player like Mane, a player like Firmino, Jota, players who are going to score goals in big moments, create chances, make things happen. And for Nunez, I think more often than not, he is missing those chances. He's missing those opportunities. But look, in terms of as a Liverpool fan, I do love Nunez because he gives so much. He does try. That's one thing you can't fault him. He gives 110% every game. I've very rarely ever seen Nunez not trying a game. Do you know what I mean? I've very rarely ever seen him shy or, sort of not be there in those positions, ghost in a game. He doesn't do that. And I feel like that's the reason why I think a lot of the fan base love him, because he gives absolutely everything in the game. But look, he has to start scoring these chances. He 110% does. But let me know your thoughts on Darwin Nunez. Will he eventually become an elite level forward for Liverpool? Will he become the player that Liverpool fans want him to be? And I suppose maybe for other fans, what do you think of Darwin Nunez from an outside point of view? And do you think he's good enough for Liverpool? I mean, yeah, only time will tell, I suppose. Hit the like button, subscribe. Chat to y'all later.